Hiya, and welcome to another Reading Wednesday. It's your girl, Logan, back at it again with another video, whatever. What was that? I'm sorry, whatever. But anyway, on today's Reading Wednesday, I'm going to be talking about Penance by Kanae Minato. I am going to be reviewing Penance. I loved it. It was a great read, and it's like a psychological thriller. So let's just get right into it. As always, I'm going to be doing an illustration inspired by Penance, by the book. And I think Kanae Minato, she is Japanese, and it is a psychological thriller. So for this week's illustration, I decided to be inspired by like Japanese horror films and kind of do a movie poster. My attempt at a movie poster. So let's see how that turns out, and let's get right into it. Here we go. So Penance, what is it about? So it's the tense, chilling story of 4 women haunted by a childhood trauma. So you got Sei, Maki, Akiko, and Yuko, okay? And then they are tricked into being separated from their friend Emily, who is taken by a mysterious stranger, okay? And then she's found murdered, okay, like hours later. And it haunts them for the rest of their life. And so then Penance just kind of follows them through the rest of their life and how they were affected by this murder, and also takes into account Emily's mom's perspective and how she reacted to it too. And it was lovely. Now, I say lovely, but like, it's a thriller. It's a psychological thriller. It's kind of a horror to me too. So lovely really is not the word I should use to describe it, but let me give you context, because I read a lot of thrillers this year, or supposed thrillers, that were not thrilling. They were not thrilling. They were by the book thrillers. They were thrillers that was like, I felt like the author was tiptoeing around the genre, like you wanted to write a thriller, but you didn't really know how. You couldn't sink your teeth into it. It was too, you were scared of it. You were scared of the genre. And then I ended up reading something that was just really boring and predictable. And Kanae Minato was like, say no more. Say no more. I got you. I got you. And then Penance, it was like, oh, Penance, she was not afraid of the genre at all. She grabbed the genre by its throat, you know, and had thriller just like gasping for air. It was like, oh, Kanae Minato, it's okay. You know, like it was amazing. It was amazing. Did I have to act that out for you? No. And I'm sorry I did. But moving on. It was just really, really good. And it was so refreshing after reading all of these thrillers that were not thrilling. Like, it was just really refreshing. Brief pause. I tried to look like, I don't know, scary for this video. So I just did black. I'll let you in on a little secret. I don't have black lipstick. I don't, so I'll leave you with that mystery. I'm wearing a horror anime shirt. Look at this. Ha 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 ha. Parasite. I've watched it 2 times. Yeah. So I just wanted to, I don't know why, I wanted to shout out my get up today as I'm talking about this book. Going back to it though. So pro is that it was an actually thrilling thriller. It wasn't boring, it wasn't predictable. I think I read it in 2 days, and I read it at night too, and like, it wasn't so scary that I couldn't, read it at night, but it was really unsettling. Really, really unsettling. Several times I had to put the book down, and just think about what I had seen with my eyes. And it was like, dang, Kanae really ain't pulling no punches. Really ain't. And I loved it. I loved her for it. Like, I like authors that just go for it, and she knew what she was supposed to do and she did it, she had no hesitation, and I love that. So yeah, just that the main pro is that it fit the genre that it was put in. So second pro is the fact that it was a really strong tone, and just her voice and writing in general. I took no issues with how she told the story, and also I'm just impressed with how she did unfold it, because it starts out with a letter from one of the girls to the mom of Emily, and Emily's the murdered child, right? And it's just entitled French Doll, which really gives nothing away. Like, I'm like, what am I supposed to gather from the title French Doll? I don't know. And I did not guess it. I did not guess the ending, but it was so freaking good. But anyway, it's a letter. And I just love, I have a lot of respect for how she laid out this story, because she laid it out in the most unsettling, manner possible. You know, she read it out in the most horrific manner she could to evoke the most the strongest reaction from her audience, I feel. And I mean, she did. I was horrified though. There were parts where I was horrified. I was legit like, what is going on? You know, I was like, Kanae Minato, what is this? You know, so but I just have, because like if you take apart the aspects of the book, like of the stories and the things that I was actually unsettled by, if you pick it apart, it's not that scary. But the way she laid it out was just the build up. There was suspense. It was like she really had you on the edge of your seat. You were like, what the heck is going on? And it's so freaking good. Like, oh, I loved it. I really did love it. So it was just a really strong, like the tone itself, the overall of the book, it never moved too far away from unsettling. Like you were constantly just uncomfortable. And I loved it. I really loved it. It was freaking great. You know, it's great when you get what you signed up for. That's all. You know, Minato promised a thriller and she delivered. She more than delivered, okay? She Amazon Prime one day shipping delivered that. You know what I'm saying? It was delicious. It was great. But anyway, and then my third pro is going to be characters, because, you know, like as I said, we got 4 girls here. 4 girls, say Maki, Akiko, and Yuko, and none of them really sounded the same, I thought. So I thought, that's really good coming from one woman, and that would be very easy to get them like mixed up, to get them sounding the same, but I didn't think so. I think they were all very believable in their own right, especially how they dealt with the trauma of this murder in their childhood. It was so good. So like I don't really want to spoil this book. Usually I do reviews and I'm like, I never promise spoil-free reviews, because for me, if the book's good enough, then the spoiler doesn't matter. But I really don't want to spoil it, just because I want you to, if you read this, I want you to get like every jaw-dropping moment. I want you to experience it. I do not want to spoil it for you at all, you know? So kind of, I'm like, dang, this might be my first spoil-free review, because I legit am like, go read the book and be horrified. You know, I don't want to give you any warnings. No sign. Please do take that shaded trail into the woods. See where it goes. You know, that's exactly how I feel. I'm like, I'm not going to give you any warnings, not any directions, no guides, nothing. Just, you know, go in there and have a terrible time. That's kind of how I feel about this book. So this might be a spoil-free review, I guess. Anyway. But yeah, that's what I really did love the characters, and she kind of dealt with this trauma, and they dealt with their trauma in their own unique way based on who they were as children, you know? The first girl was always really quiet, and it's kind of but not really, it's not really a spoiler. The way she deals with her trauma is she thought that for some reason she got it in her head that she would be okay as long as she was like a child, I believe. I know that I'm not saying that right. No, I'm not. I'm like, you'd have to read the book a little bit again to figure out why she thought that. But basically it turned out like her body, she never got her period. Like her whole life, she didn't menstruate. She never started it. And it was linked back to this event and all the trauma that she underwent as to why her body never progressed in that way. And I know they give a reason for it, but like, it's been so long since I read it, it feels, and it really hasn't been, but dang, it feels like it's been so long. I read this in June? Didn't I read this in June? Oh my goodness. Time is just a concept, I swear. Oh, okay. See, so yeah, she said, if I become an adult, I'll get killed. I thought, if my periods start, I'll get murdered. For some reason, I don't know. But that's what she started drilling into herself after this event happened, after Emily was killed. So she's like, that makes sense that your periods can start and stop due to psychological reasons. She's like, I've told my body this all its life, do not progress. Do not pass go, okay? Like, let's just stay a kid forever. That's what she told her body, and that's why, you know, she never had her period. But yeah, so that's how the first girl deals with her traumas, by thinking that just thinking that she'll get murdered as soon as she grows up, and then her body reacts to this in the way of just never menstruating. And then she gets herself into like more well, she doesn't get herself into more issues, but more issues kind of befall her in her life. I don't really want to spoil those though, and they are pretty dark. I thought the first one was pretty dark. Like, if I could rank the chapters of Penance, I would rank them as this. So it goes first, French doll, an unscheduled PTA meeting, the Bear siblings, 10 months and 10 days, Penance, and the final chapter. So you got 6 chapters to this book, okay? And I would rank as from like unsettling, the most unsettling to least unsettling. I would say the most unsettling was the Bear siblings. Then after that, it would be French doll. And then after that, I'm gonna say, after that, they're not really, it's not that unsettling to me. Maybe an unscheduled PTA meeting, then 10 months and 10 days, Penance, and then the final chapter. You know, I don't know. Something like that. But pretty much, it's the French doll and the Bear siblings. Those 2 chapters are the ones that are just max uncomfortability. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Yeah, so I have 3 pros, and then I really only have 1 con, and that would be there was like one loose end that Minato did not tie up for some reason, and it seems like it's an active choice of hers. We never actually figure out why or what happened to the man that killed Emily. We never actually figure that out, and that did upset me. I was like, girl, why would you take me this far and then just not give me the ending that I wanted? You know, I'm like, why? We really just don't know what happened to that man. And they allude, even worse is the Minato alludes to something happening, but then doesn't tell us. You know, like, it's like that person who just like baits you with a story. They get you all like excited about the tea, and then they say, you know what though? You really ain't allowed to have the tea. And it's like, well, then why did you tell me you had tea? I would never have known I was missing out if no one had brought up the kettle. You know, it's like that. And I was just like, Minato, why? So I ended up giving it like 4 stars instead of 5 just because of that. But if she had tied up that one loose end or like hadn't even alluded to anything happening to the dude, maybe have even just left that like completely unknown, I would have given this 5 stars probably. Well, maybe not. I do like my endings. I like authors to write the ending. I'm not a fan of ambiguous stuff. I am not a fan of it. Never have I claimed to be. I think my first love-hate relationship, no, there is no love. My hateful. Well, sometimes I guess ambiguous endings are okay, but dude, it's just, I'm not the one. I want to know how it ends, okay? Books are the one place where I get to do that. Life, I don't know how anything ends, man. Anything can happen any day. I don't get that. But in a book, you best tell me how this make-believe world ends. You best tell me. You told the story up to this point. Don't get lazy now. The finish line is right there, you know? That's how I feel. That's legit how I feel. So, anyway, yeah. I was about to say, though, my hate relationship with ambiguous endings began with The Mailbox, which is such a book I can't even... The Mailbox was stupid, but they had an ambiguous ending, and ever since then, I was like, you know, screw that. I was like, you know what, though? How about not? Ever since then, I've just been like, you know what, though? It's not my cup of tea. It's really not my cup of tea. Feels like you spat in my cup of tea, actually. I'm actually very insulted. I've brought up tea a lot in this video, I feel, without meaning to. And I'm like, secretly, do I want tea? Not really, because I'm not a tea person. I don't know where I'm going today. I am so sorry if this is all over the place. My apologies. But anyway, yeah. So those are my thoughts on Penance. I cut it short because I didn't want to get into anything that happens. I'm like, should I give a trigger? I'm gonna trigger warning though. I'm gonna do that. Because I don't want to spoil anything that exactly happens. But you have rape. There's pedophilia in this, briefly. For the Bear siblings is really that one. There's murder, a lot of death, a lot of people dying, people getting away with murder, infidelity, sibling rivalry, crappy parents doing things that just, why would you say that to a child? let alone your child that you love, I guess. So yeah, there's a lot, you know. It's a dark book. It's dark. If you want to have a bad time, but know you're having a bad time, sometimes, you know, if you just want to gasp at a book, I highly suggest it. Yeah, so let me read my review for Penance, and then we'll get into my illustration and, like, you know, what I did this week. Anyway, so I'll give this 4 stars because I'm not completely satisfied by the ending. Minato leaves us in suspense of what happened to the man who actually killed Emily, and I think the reason he did it was to I'm not gonna say that part because I kind of don't want to spoil it. So yeah. Anyway, but this was the most engaging and suspenseful thriller I've read this year. I'd like to read Minato's debut novel as well, and I appreciated all the dark, twisted places she took me in Penance. And I really did, because it really did feel like just reading a horror movie. And sometimes I like horror films. Sometimes I like being scared. I have like the urge to be scared, and I always go with like a slasher or something. I don't know. Do I? It's a very brief feeling. It's not often I feel like someone scare my pants off. You know, it's not often I get that feeling, but when I do, I usually just go to some trashy horror flicks. So, yeah. And this felt like that. This felt like reading that, and I just really like it. So I think I'll continue. I might try to read some more thrillers by her. I think this is the only book my library has of her, though, unfortunately, which kind of sucks, but I'll figure it out. I want to read more scary books. I think I might make that a goal for the rest of 2021, is get my hands on some more creepy, unsettling, oh my god, what just happened kind of books. I want those. That might be cool, because, you know, I read my fair share of happy books. I'm reading some good books right now, honey. I'm reading some great books. Some of them now that I talked about in my, what was that, mid-year freak out video. I'm reading it. It's freaking delicious. If I didn't have responsibilities and a job, I would have read it in one night. But I was like, girl, we gotta get up in the morning, so I didn't do that. Willpower. Yeah. Anyway, it's that time. I was about to say arts and crafts, but whatever. That seems, we're not in kindergarten. It's art time. It's time for art. The reveal of my horror poster that I tried to make. It's like a block. Also, this is the first time I've done it because I'll scratch art. I've only done scratch art like a few times, first of all. And that's partially why I didn't have a video. I wasn't able to put out a video last week because I had to get the materials to actually be able to do this. I didn't have any tools to actually scrape the clay off and reach the white underneath it. So yeah, that's why I didn't have a video last week. It was kind of sucked, but whatever. We move on. And at first I was going to paint this, actually. I was going to just do a black watercolor thing. And then I was like, nah, but you know what would be even more cool? Would be like so much cooler? Is if you went back to that good old scratch art that you did in middle school and high school, like once upon a time. And so we did. Was it the best? Is it the best? Absolutely not. I don't think it's ever been my favorite medium. I've never hated it, but it also has never been my jam. I've never felt exactly like extremely comfortable with scratch art, and I'm amazed by people who actually do it and do it like realistically and very, you know, like just very well and stuff. I think I'm not gonna sit here and critique this, but like I want to, but at the same time I don't. Anyway, I'll just talk about what I did. So yeah, of course I got the title Blood Red Penance, and then this is I drew a little dog girl because that's kind of important to the story. I do a lot of things that were important to the story. Of course, it starts out with this friend, Emily, being murdered. What's her name, Emily? I'll correct it in editing. I don't know. But yeah, she gets taken away by this mysterious dude. I didn't even want to color him in because I was like, they don't even remember what he looks like, first of all, so I don't think he should have any color, and he didn't. And then there's like there's a dude with a bear mask here. He looks kind of weird, a weirdo. That makes sense. I have the words "they will pay" because I was just like, there's this big space here and I didn't know what to do with that. Just gonna be honest there. Yeah. And then I looked up Penance and, like, you know, kanji, the Japanese characters. And that's just what I got multiple times. This is like the only sequence of characters I got several times. So I was just like, let's just trust that. If it's wrong, I apologize, but at least it's not a tattoo. You know what I'm saying? Some people have done worse. They have done worse. Not to throw imaginary people under the bus, but hey, you know, this is a project. This is just a project. This is not for life. But yeah, I like it. I think it's cool. I do kind of wish that I think my line thickness could be better. I might go back and work on it a little more, actually, and make it a little more diverse in like the line variety. It's all very thin, really. I think some things need to stand out more than others. So that would be my one critique to myself, really. And I'll probably do that, so yeah. But I really like this. And I also, how I got it to be red was you can ink it, apparently, like just with ink. And then I use watercolor ink on this. And that's how it's red. Yeah. So yeah, I think this is really cool. I really like this idea. I would like to keep doing this with like every horror book I read, like maybe, or like horror, psychological thriller, whatever. If it's a thrilling book, I make a little movie poster for it. That'd be kind of cool. No promises though. Like if I get like a better idea, then I'll do that. But yeah, so I just think I like how this week's turns out. It was really, it was difficult. It was difficult, not gonna lie. Like I said, it's not my favorite medium to do. And it's just you're scratching and you're scratching and scratching. It's kind of like you're carving something. Bruh. It's like, and I ain't got no arm strength. It's embarrassing how my forearm was aching. My forearm was like, we ain't used to this. We is not used to this. And I was like, I know. Please bear with me, please. But yeah, that was my little illustration for this week. First hard thing that you can knock on. Everything is paper, really, so far. Like I've never done anything hard like this, so that's kind of cool. Even my paintings, are on paper because it's watercolor or gouache. But anyway, yeah, so that's all I got for Penance. Thank you for watching and joining me this Reading Wednesday. Come back again for another video. Go read a book, have some thoughts, take a nap if you want. I don't care. I wish you well. Have a nice day. Bye.